Okay, here we are going live at Plymouth Plantation. First, we're walking through the Wampanoag area. This is the lower, you have two loops. This is the lower loop. Thanks for coming and joining this walk with me. It's beautiful here today in Massachusetts. It's doesn't have the terrible humidity that we have back in Tennessee. And I do have a stabilizer on this, so I'm hoping that as I walk, it won't bounce you just too much. Would the original Plymouth settlers have seen this foliage? I have no idea how much of this is actually correct, historically correct. But I know that today we're going to see a lot of things that are. There's that little stone bench made of rock. Seems pretty authentic. Up ahead we have some on the meaning of power. And it goes, its iron content reveals strength akin to the direction which brings the night and rain and storms. Another granite stone points a vein of green quartz directly north, from where the winter snows arrive to blanket the earth in her time of rest. It's not very busy today, and it is perfect weather. No idea what those berries are. At the end or at the bottom of the loop, this is where the Wampanoag Native Americans have their homes. When I was here before, you actually saw, this is cool, this is the garden, a Wampanoag garden.
And they're basically, when you go to the one area, let's go ahead and see this too. I think it's just a loop in while we're here. That's maybe the shell of it, but this is like the one we saw yesterday. I've never seen anything like it.
Hollowed out canoe. And here we have, yeah, deer hides. Pretty sure the deer would have preferred them to be kept on them. But hey, who am I to judge? Okay, so this is the Eel River Summer House. And we are standing on the edge of the Eel River. This summer house is covered with tightly woven mats of dried split cattail reeds gathered from nearby. The reeds encourage optimal air circulation inside the house. So those would have been the reeds. And this is the style of reed-covered house would have been built near the coast and occupied by a multi-generational native family of 5 to 7 people during the warmer months of the year. Its coastal location makes it easy to take advantage of the nearby natural resources. Oceans and rivers were and still are essential to lifeways of the Wampanoag people. Bass, cod, perch, salmon, sturgeon, trout, turtles, and eels were plentiful before the 18th century and were a large part of the spring, summer, and fall diet. You can see a fire pit right here. Why no roof? Let's look at it, because it sure doesn't have one, does it? The wetu, which is how it's pronounced, has been left uncovered so you can see the frame and construction. Made from green cedar saplings and bent wooden poles that are harvested early in the season and held into shape with natural fiber rope. Normally, native families would have fully covered the frame to keep out the rain. When I was here before with the group, we saw someone actually hollowing out some of these canoes. There's the Eel River, just right there. It's really cool. I wonder how far that would have gone.
Huh?
How far would that have gone? I know. I can't imagine people in there. And
I mean, because a log, like a tree, a fallen tree, floats in the water. Like, out. Being hollowed out.
And here we have a huge one. It almost looks like this one has been burned out. And maybe that was a method of creating it. I don't know. Does it look like it's been burned out?
Uh-huh.
And that's a method of hollowing out, possibly? It's pretty cool.
But this would have to be a family. I mean, it's not like a 2-seater car.
Obviously, no.
This is a family van.
Or it could be like a tribe.
Van, the bus.
Let's go look at the house. Right over here. Yeah, this one's really cool. And then we'll go there and talk to her. She's an actual descendant.
Beautiful real estate.
Well, so obviously the crops would be corn or maize.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty corn crop.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. But they have to plant it. The herbicides, the fertilizer would be totally different.
We'll ask her about what kind of corn.
What kind of life?
What I mean, if it was maize, what would it have been? Does it say here? Women dug holes and buried herring fish for fertilizer. And after the fish decomposed, the corn was planted. It would grow to be a hand, which is 4 inches tall. The beans would use corn stalks as a support trellis after they sprouted. Very effective way to garden. Okay, moving over here, we're going to see Wampanoag home. You'll probably hear other people speaking in here, and it may be a little dark. Pretty sure they don't. Walk up there and stand close to it so you can see how small it is. Because in order to get in, you definitely have to. John's going to have to bend to get in. All right, honey, go ahead.
Together, sort of how it is right now.
I mean, it's very comfortable.
Yeah, we only have like 1 or 2 layers, so.
What all did they? What animals all did they?
Yeah, so mostly non-carnivorous mammals, so pretty much anything bigger than a rabbit. But mostly you'd see like deer, moose, elk, skunks, beavers, raccoons. Most of what we have in here though is white-tailed deer.
Okay.
It's the last big game animal we have here.
But
The
it was,
eastern elk is extinct, and moose you don't really see them this far in southern Mass.
was the game plenteous
Oh
at
yes.
that point?
Yep. You have plenty of food in here, or here anyway. So you're not preserving like meats or fish, things like that, because it was in such an abundance. You're gonna go out hunting or fishing on a day-to-day basis for what you need.
Got it.
Where though you are doing like plant-based preservation by sun drying them. So your crops, like I said, single family are living with that extended family. So moose
Live as
but yeah, so you're where you don't really see that animals are also avoided in this area because Canadian research.
Not much on flowers, but I noticed that's a sweet pea. The other side of the garden. I'm telling you, the weather is beautiful here. Absolutely just amazing. Native.
Herbs. So deers, they just eat vegetation. So do moose and elk. You also would have things like skunk and raccoon and rabbit and birds. All very clean animals. So you were never eating wolf. You were never eating mountain lion, bobcat, lynx, none of those things. Bear on the very rare occasion. But bears back then, compared to nowadays, had very clean meat. They mostly just ate roots, shoots, berries, and fish, which is what the Wampanoag were eating here. You would be having a lot of fish during the spring and summer. Excellent questions. If you're curious about anything else, let me know. Okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What can you tell us?
So what would you like to know?
So are you a descendant of...
I'm native, just not from the Wampanoag.
Mhm.
So the Wampanoag Indigenous Program, as it's become known, has been around since 1973. So that means since that time we've had Indigenous people primarily from Wampanoag communities, but also from neighboring or sister tribes like the Narragansett, Pequot, Mohegan, folks throughout New England, but also from other areas of North or South America. So myself, I'm Puerepecha and Lipana Apache from the Haditla Nade, but my husband is Mashpee Wampanoag. So even if we're not a tribal member from here, we speak and we educate about the Wampanoag because they are the indigenous people of this territory, and we want to be respectful of their homelands. Oh yeah, that little chipmunk really gets to me.
There's another one. There's two.
I actually have 4
Oh,
that
okay.
hang around. So they're interested in the food. So, that woman was just asking an excellent question about the which one? The orange ones, as you talked about, which are Japanese honeysuckle, and then those red ones, which I believe are called, there's a few different terms from them. All I know is that each one of them is a problem with livestock prior to the 17th century. Very clean animals. that eat strictly vegetation. So you were very mindful too of where your meat was coming from. So not having wolf, not having mountain lion, not having bobcat and lynx, all of those animals being native to here. But the diet was largely plant-based throughout the year, coming from the crops that you grew, corn, beans, and squash. You also had sunchokes, and then of course berries growing wildly, nuts that you could gather for, and then you would supplement that with different meats throughout the year. So right now women would be gathering shellfish, men would go out fishing both in the river and the ocean. You also would have seen fowling happen. So turkey you could hunt throughout the year. Right now you'd be having a lot of ducks, a lot of geese, aside from turkey. So turkeys, or I should really say any animal, when you were to hunt it or when you were to trap it, you were using every part of it. The meat, of course, is what would feed you. It's what would sustain you. The fur would have been your clothing, your bedding. The bones would have been tools, toys, and jewelry. And tendons were used.
And whether or not they're native or not.
Here when this site is cleared, because you know they navigate underneath the ground, so they come up. We have their little homes inside of the garden, and then chipmunks are
How much would that?
disabled, the elderly.
What am I trying?
No, it is. I appreciate.
But she said that that's great how they took care of the people in their village. Replica to put them close. She said, I don't know what tribe.
I'm John Hayes' third cousin. Sure.
Okay, so we are walking to the English part of the village. I'm glad you asked the question about the berries, because as I went by I looked at those and I thought the same thing. I wondered if they were edible, but that was a good rule of thumb, I guess. Poisonous berries.
If nothing is living on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty smart. Oh. So what did you think was cool about what we saw there?
What is canoes?
Yeah, that was crazy.
The ropes that tied everything together.
Yeah, and how about how they use the sinews?
The what?
The sinews from the animals that they ate to tie things together. You know, she said they used every part of the
Tendons.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright, so here we're going to the English village. Here we go. I really think we could have taken that bottom loop back around. That's how we did it before.
One time let somebody else make a decision.
And a restroom. If anybody knows me, we know that I always need a restroom. That's just beautiful, isn't it?
The ocean.
Uh-huh. She said they didn't keep domesticated animals. Is that right? No pigs. Were you surprised? Over here. Wait, you want to go down or you want to go up? Okay. here we are going into Plymouth Plantation, the recreation of Plymouth Plantation. And how do we know how accurate? Well, it says from written sources, archaeological excavations, and surviving structures. And notice the primary documents they're using from William Bradford, Emmanuel Athan, John Corey, and Edward Winslow. Okay.
Mama.
What would have been the most important structure that would have been highest on the hill? Think it'd be the church? I'm gonna say church. Actually not, it's a fort. The original fort, which stood in downtown Plymouth, does not survive, but this is a reproduction based on period writings. From William Bradford of Plymouth Plantation. Huh. Upstairs. Really would have thought it would have been a church, but for your safety, please do not climb on the cannons. Clearly that's been a problem in the past. For those of you who know me, I just want to clarify, I did not do that any time in the past when I was here. No climbing on the cannons for me.
Beautiful.
It really is beautiful. It's a great view, isn't it? Clearly this has been a problem in the past. Don't climb on the cannons. Down the stairs we go. Let's go explore the village. Get a sense of history walking, even though this is a replica. Of what life might have been like here. Probably wouldn't have lasted at all. Anybody think you would have lasted? Anybody could live like this? Only wild animals and berries. I'm not sure I could have done that. Inside a typical house. I assume it's typical. That's pretty cool that they actually have a bed. Or a bed frame, rather, of some kind. And then you have this. And a huge hearth. I can't imagine packing everything that you own from England, crossing the ocean with everything you own and coming here to literally hack your life out of the forest, out of the wilderness. The smell is really interesting too, because it smells like my grandmother's house, and I think it's from the stove and just that kind of thing. And then here we have a carpet on the table, but it looks like these people did have some things. Looks a little familiar. People in Tennessee, let's recognize those. Yep. And then the oils.
And different customs, as it were. But when it comes
Do you think that maybe at some point in history, different versions?
And so I dry it so I can use it in the colder months. Cottage, but we do not have.
So
You do not have
when
tea.
it comes to
No hot
other
tea.
people's religions, as it were,
Hey, buddies.
Hello.
This looks like your herb cabinet.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
What is it?
Good day.
Your garden?
Well, diverse and sundry small plants. So this is not what sustains us all year. That our field crops are farther out. Corn and beans and pumpkins and field peas and such. So these are smaller root herbs, salad herbs. Everything's good for physics. Some things are better for physic than filling the belly though. So what you're just standing in front of there, that is southern wood. Really good against vermin, not something you want to eat though. That sort of feathery one there, I'll give you a little piece, you can smell it. It is very strong smelling. You'll see why it's good against vermin. I've known some to put in their thatching, helps keep serpents away. Yeah, good stewing herb, aye. There is some mint there, but I don't think you're actually seeing it. It's fairly deep within the plant here. There is wormwood here. There's primrose, there's sage, lavender, cotton, marjoram, thyme. So a lot of those are used to relish the pot. But of course, everything's good for the body in one way or another. This here, that is thyme. Good in the pottage. It's good on roasted pork, flesh of some sort.
It's good on everything.
It is.
Thyme is good on
Useful,
everything.
isn't it?
Thyme and rosemary, good on everything.
Yeah, if only rosemary grew here. It's too cold. Are you able to grow it?
I am.
Oh, good, good. It's be warmer through the winters where you're from. Yeah, it gets, I mean, you would not know it today, but it gets very, very cold here in the winter time. I think it's the wildness of this country. It just changes everything so quickly. You got a small kitchen garden then?
I do.
Oh, good. I do as well.
I
Small
do.
kitchen garden. Lovely. Not farmers then?
No.
No.
Yes, we are.
You got fields?
Well,
Oh.
in Belgium we do.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I know some of them are sort of the opposite of where I've come from. I grew up in a market town in England. Did not farm. My father sold cloth, but then coming here is more farm work. So opposite of them.
So what was your
Good to have still have a kitchen garden though. They're so useful to have small things.
what was the why did you decide to come? It had to be a very difficult decision. Why did you decide?
Go down the hill.
There was multiple reasons why I decided to come. It was the most difficult decision. I was not a member of the community before. So some of my neighbors came from Leiden. I left off of Southampton. And I decided to come for a couple of reasons. One, it was very important for me to have the freedom to be able to be a Reformed Christian. Some of my neighbors will call me a separatist, but I wanted to have the ability to be able to directly interpret the word of the Lord, and as in the custom of the church in England, they have ungodly ceremonies, rituals, which are all distractions from the pure word of God. But there was another reason in particular, and that was the land here. In England, there are all these abhorrent regulations regulating put it this way, not only is religion controlled by the king, but the woods, the timber are controlled by the king. So it's a very settled land. And this land provides myself for 7 years here. I would receive from the joint stock company 100 acres of land. And I am not a man of mathematics. I was apprenticed in the art of barrel making. I am not an intellectual man, but I do know 100 acres of land is a lot of land. So we are currently in some troubles because it was supposed to be, we are in the year of 16 on 720, that we would be having, and I would be receiving that 100 acres of land for our family, but we're currently undertaking a lot of debt. But I still have hope of receiving that land.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Gramercy, do you plan to settle here?
Yes, much in a much more southern area probably. We have settled in a much southern area.
In Virginia?
More southern.
Southwest.
Florida?
Isle of Florida.
West of Florida, west of Virginia.
Oh,
In an area of Tennessee.
that's what he said. I didn't know that, but apparently it's humid there.
Aye.
Very humid there.
News travels very slowly, so I was not aware of Tennessee, but perhaps I will learn about it
I love this road.
on future news.
That makes it very waterproof
Oh yeah. I mean, unless you got a leak, and then it can be repaired.
because that is really thick.
What
What is that made out of? What is that?
Marsh grass.
Mashed grass.
From the marshes.
Okay, marsh grass.
So cattails and other reeds. It's I don't know if you've seen the houses of the natives that they live in the summer. It's made of the same stuff. It's really good to
Is
keep
there
out the
anything you
water.
put on it to keep it, help it make it waterproof, or
No.
just stashed together real tight?
No, it's just very, very thick and tightly packed. So even when it rains really hard, you know, the underside of the roof right here remains dry. It's really only the top bit that gets wet. The water rolls off of it, and it expands as well when it rains, so it closes up any gaps.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good roof as long as you keep to the repair every year, especially after storms.
You would be up there every day repairing.
So he shared his story about his choice in coming. Why did you choose to come?
I suppose I came for the work.
As well, because I did not
was living with a family in London. I grew up in Marketon, Watford. After father died, things had changed for us, and so I was with the Warrens, and they came here. We're coming here, planning to come here. I came as their servant, so for the land, for the opportunity here, that I might be able to support a family better one day. I was getting towards the age where I was thinking of marrying. It's crowded in the cities of London.
It is.
Well, cities of England, in London particularly, where I was, and I was worried about being able to support a family and marry before too long, because I was seeing more and more people taking longer to actually set themselves up for their life. And you hear you could own land, and there is something better here.
And it's a different kind of life. But you seem happy. But you seem happy.
And it's a lot better now. I've got my own family, and it's I feel a lot more settled now. At the beginning it was quite difficult not knowing anyone here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you're going out, you might want to go up above there. It's the easiest way out of the garden.
Is the fort also used as a church too?
It is. Well, the congregation here, the Reformed congregation, they don't believe the church is the building, but rather the people, the congregation itself, and so they don't particularly care where we meet as long as we meet. But the fort is the largest building.
Okay.
So that's a little different than back home as well.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
It's the port of guard.
True. On Plymouth Rock.
What was that? The thing I smelled?
It looks like a bunch of herbs and spices.
Yeah, but what specific? Do you know?
I've got it in my hand.
No, dear. I can't video the smell. I'm surprised that they actually have beds, and I'm also kind of overwhelmed that they packed everything they owned and just kind of and brought it here and just settled. And underneath here, I thought that might. I wonder if that just would not have worked for a space. Yeah. How long have you been here?
I've been here since 1620.
Okay.
So about 7 years for us. I'm Jen.
Hi. Well, I've been here for 4 years myself. I just come on the ad.
And why did you decide to make this journey, this very difficult decision?
I was a servant to Governor Carver before he died. And then my contract became nullified and I decided to stay. And if I hadn't have stayed, I wouldn't have met my wife.
So that's a blessing that you received from being here.
I guess so. If you could look at it that way.
Did they make these with, and how did they make them?
What is going to be on the other side? I think that's incorrect. What brings you here today, sir?
Excuse me?
What brings you here today, sir?
Beautiful weather.
And?
The education.
And?
My wife.
Your beautiful wife.
My beautiful.
Okay. That's good.
No job, I'm okay. Have you just
upset. Like you're a little bit jealous.
Oh, Amy is a din
Face your partner. Go to your left and up, right and up, and turn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to the center. So left. Oh yes. And now right. Oh boy. And back. Face your partner. Left, right, and turn. Very good. Woo! Do you think you're ready to learn the verses?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, she does.
She does. Oh my gosh, yay.
Yes, eh?
Well, I too would be excited to dance. Very good. So, the first verse is called Slipping. Why is everyone leaving? So, might you all come together and join hands? Unfortunately for your losses, you do have to touch Giles. We all have to hold hands. There we go. I did just wash my hands this morning, honey. Very good. And so what you want to do is take a side-stepping velocity to the left first on a count of 8, and then we will be repeating it on the right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm very good. So should I count us to 3 so we know when to start?
Yes.
So 1, 2, and 3, go left. 1, 2, 3, and right.
Right.
6, 7, 8. Very good. So that is the entirety of the process. It's much more easier than the chorus.
Just all in the end. We killed that.
What does that mean?
We did really well.
Oh, you did.
When do you guys do this thing?
We do not do it very often here, true. Back in England, you might do it to celebrate things. Here.
We're the best group of dancers you've ever seen.
I think so.
Giles, stop talking.
Why do you and Julia's argue? Not extremely toxic.
I think you guys have a bit of a toxic relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to stop being friends.
Or like maybe therapy. Maybe it's therapy stuff.
Yeah,
What about me? I thought you wanted to learn how to dance, not to tell them how to live. Oh, you just do this so they
That's last to know how to do the walk.
Well, I think it's safe to say that our Plymouth settlers are not very woke. Cometh, husband, shall you walk with me?
She also mentioned that phone.
Most of the houses are alike, but I'm struck by how they literally have hacked everything that they own.
I mean, the market value of these houses, I wonder if we could buy one and flip it.
The market value. Crazy, what might this be? An outdoor oven?
And you put central heat and air in one of
That looks very sad. Maybe they're getting ready to do something. Or maybe that's an animal pen. But I thought that, well, maybe it was the Wampanoags that did not keep wild animals. And maybe these people do. Oh, this is a barn. But we can't go in.
Time.
It's a little house I haven't been in. I don't think that the young Puritan ladies care much to be about toxicity. I think think that might be closed. Okay. Do one more down here. Anachronism. Phone out in Plymouth Plantation. I explained you couldn't put central heating air in this, and no, you can't flip anything. Oh well. They have a children's center. That's good. So like a pilgrim. That's really cute too. Play was an important part of life for the 65 children in Plymouth in 1627. Like now, many families believe play was good for the mind, body, and soul.
Play like a... Might get what?
Like a pilgrim. That would be great if, FYI, if anyone's listening from the Department of Education, take a page from the pilgrims here, and kids need to play. I don't see anything about testing here. That's kind of interesting too. From garden to table. It says the pilgrims grew vegetables and herbs for cooking and medicine. It's very cool. And here you can pluck and smell to see what herbs smell like. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. And I'm going to pluck this. I have no idea what this is.
You're talking about food,
but it smells really good. What is this? Smell it. It smells a little like sage, but
I don't know. Don't eat it.
I couldn't eat it, but I'd like to know what it is. It says you can pluck and smell.
Don't eat it.
I'm beginning to think that Puritan husbands were far more respectful than modern ones too, just saying. Okay. Don't know what that is.
That's the end of the road.
Smarty pants. You used to be able to walk around this way.
I don't think you can find the old path.
No, I guess it's up here around to the Wampanoag thing, but I think we've seen all of this. I would have liked to have seen the barn.
Someone's working on the roof today. You hear me?
Yeah, what's this? I mean, a garden, obviously, but the trellising for, like, the beans. Yeah, somebody is working on the roof.
See what the roofers left on the ground back there?
Well, they're probably dancing up here. And they probably need a break.
I don't see a set of stocks anywhere. It could be devil worship though.
Not in a Puritan society. Don't think so. I'm sorry, Pilgrim. Pilgrim. These are separatists, not Puritans. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me on our walk through Plymouth Plantation. Going to take just a little bit of a break, and then we're going to go through. We're going to see Plymouth Rock, and we're also going to see Plymouth, the Mayflower too, that the Pilgrims came over on. So again, thank you all, and I will see you soon.